Pat Ogletree, and in this video we're going to go and do the weekend game plan for the Upper Texas coast. And we actually had a request to do an area on West Galveston Bay near San Luis Pass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this, and we're going to talk about species specific and where you should be looking for different types of fish. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the weather, as always, because we want to make sure we're safe out there, see what kind of obstacles we're going to be looking at, whether it be wind, rain, or anything like that. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday looks like it's going to be a little breezy out there with the south-southeast. Got Friday, pretty much 0 chance of rain, and then Sunday 24% chance of rain. So it looks pretty good there. But let me click on that, see when that rain is going to be here. Looks like 11 o'clock on only 24% chance. That's not too bad. It's not like it's going to be a total washout. So looks like a pretty good weekend, minus the wind might be a little bit gusty. But using that south-southeast direction, we can go out here to Galveston Island and get some wind protection. But if you do plan on going out and, say, fishing the north side of the bay, then you'll want to take that wind in consideration and try to find some protection from that. So the types of places that we need to be looking at to catch these fish, and we'll talk about trout first off, is going to be areas that have some depth change. These trout like areas that they can get a little bit deeper, so they can get away from predators such as birds. They can get down, have a little bit of water over their heads, and they don't have to worry about the birds coming and getting them. And one of the places I like the looks of is down here. Now again, I'm just picking this out on a map. You can use this same information and apply it to pretty much anywhere along the Galveston Island area, but this is a great looking spot right here. So we've got some depth change right here, and we've got a little cove that's got some deeper water, and you can tell the deeper water because it's a little bit darker right here. And these channels right here are a great spot for these trout to patrol up and down. And one thing that's going to be an added bonus, and something I say a bonus, it really is a necessity, is make sure there's bait in the area. So if you see whether it be fry bait, finger mullet, or even large jumping mullet, that's an indication that there's other types of bait around. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for areas like that. Now as far as flounder are going to be in the same types of areas, but what they'll do is they'll kind of hang around these docks, these dock pilings where this deeper water intersects right here. As you can zoom right in, see we got a little bit of deeper water right here that's surrounding these docks. Those are great places for flounder to hang out because they like using those poles as ambush points. They'll get right down there on the bottom of them, and anything that goes by, that drifts by, they'll dart out, grab it, and then go right back to that dock. But this is definitely a good looking area, especially we got something, a little channel, little cut. These are the type of places we're looking for. Now another type of spot that we're looking for is, say, closer to the inlet itself. And I took a look at the tides, and what we've got is we've got a strong incoming all day long, combined with that southeast wind. We're gonna have a lot of water flow coming in the morning time, and in the afternoon time when we get that outgoing tide, we still have a strong southeast wind that's happening. So it's going to cut down on how much water is going to actually fall out of the bay. That southeast wind's going to push a lot of water in there. So the most amount of water flow is going to be on your incoming tide. But these little channels that you see right here are going to be great places to be looking for either trout and flounder this time of year. What's going to happen is they're just going to sit right here along these edges of these channels, and they're going to be waiting for any bait or anything to get flushed by, and they're using that as an ambush point. Another place is going to be these little pinch points right here between the islands right here and the seashore. I'd featured this not too long ago in another report, but this is definitely good looking spots. But you can take the same information and pretty much apply it along any of these areas right here. And I like the spots whenever you see the deeper areas, the darker areas. It typically means it's going to be deeper water and something that's got more of an abrupt drop off. I like areas like that compared to like a gradual drop off. So you've got something like here where it's really sharp and really deep compared to this little inlet right there. Something like that is going to be where I'm going to concentrate, where I'm going to be fishing at. Now let's talk about redfish a little bit. So when it comes to red fishing, again, we'll take in the factor that we've got that southeast wind that's going to be pushing water in. We've got a strong incoming tide, so that means these marshes are going to have a lot of water in them. And I'm picking these marshes out because that's where these redfish will have a tendency to go. They're looking for their type of food that they like. They like shrimp, they like crabs, they like crustaceans like that. Yes, they eat finfish also, but they will switch over to these type. They're scavengers, so they'll switch over to this type of diet. And what's going to happen is these bayous right here, because we've got a lot of water coming in, we've got that strong wind, these are going to fill up. There's going to be a lot of water back here, and that's where these redfish are going to be. Now, I have a preference when I'm fishing for redfish. I like an outgoing tide. Something about an outgoing tide just fires these redfish up, and I think what it's doing is it's flushing all of this this bait out that they're after. So if I was going to be fishing for redfish, me personally, I like fishing the afternoon, the outgoing tide, whenever this water starts falling out. So what I would do is I'd be fishing for trout and flounder in the morning time in those deeper areas in those cuts, and then whenever that tide starts moving out, that's when I would move up into the bayous and fish this this area that's got this outgoing tide that's coming in, and it's going to flush all that bait out. Now again, you know, I'm just singling out these bayous right here. You know, I like something like this, especially, you know, when you get up here and you just have, you know, this water that's going to flush out of these areas and these little drains right in here. Perfect places for these fish to lay. But you can take the same information again and just apply it to any one of these marshes right here. Any of these drains that you see that's coming out of the back areas that are on an outgoing tide, you should be able to pick up some redfish there. Now, as far as lures that are concerned, whenever the wind is up like this, if you're a live bait fisherman, it really is hard to beat a popping cork, live shrimp under a popping cork. It's a great tool to use. It's something that you can call the attention to your bait whenever there's a lot of motion that's going on. So when the wind is up, you get a lot of, you know, a lot of wave that's happening, a lot of, you know, just kind of noise that's going on. And sometimes it's hard for them to single out your lure and all this, but a popping cork really can bring the attention to them. Now, as far as lures are concerned, paddle tails, you know, I'm going to be throwing paddle tails in this situation. Probably going to have to go a little bit heavier to get that lure down to where I want, because that wind is going to create a little bit of a bow in your line. But being a southeast wind, if it's coming in this direction, if you can have that wind to your back and you can make those long casts, what that'll happen is, one, you know, again, the longer cast is going to help you cover more ground, but two, it's going to keep that bow out of your line from like say a cross breeze. But you might have to step it up. Typically I like running, you know, a 3/16 of an ounce in these shallower waters. You might have to step it up to a 1/4 of an ounce, but try the difference between that 3/16 and that 1/4 of an ounce. But if you're fishing these deeper channels right here, you might even have to go more than a 1/4 of an ounce. But I like to start lighter and then work my way up from there. But that's how I'd be fishing the area. So as far as the paddle tail choice of colors go, either the, you know, use what you want. Either the Gold Digger, I've had great success with the Gold Digger, or you can even use that Slam Shady color. I know the water here is a little bit dirtier, but believe it or not, I've had a lot of good luck with the Slam Shady in muddier, darker water. So, but you know, any color that you want, whether it be the Fred, the pink color, the Gold Digger, or the Slam Shady, either one should work well in these situations. So that's going to be the weekend game plan. That's how I would approach it. If you do go out there, make sure and be safe. If you got to cross some big bodies of water, remember that wind's going to be up a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit bumpy out there. But however you do, make sure and put a report in the community. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see how you do. And as always, if you've got any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And if there is a spot in the upper Texas coast that you would like for me to do a weekend game plan, I'd like to hear from you too. Go ahead and put those down in the comments below, and I'll see what I can put together for you. And as always, being a traveling fishing coach, you never know where I'm going to be next. And if I don't see you out on the water, then I will see you in the next game plan. Have a